Right then, Year 9. This is just a quick screencast to explain to you what it is that you need to be thinking about doing in today's lesson on Monday the 13th of October while I'm out of the class doing speaking tests with Year 11. A few things that I'd like you to think about getting through. First of all, you remember that last week I marked an activity in your book and gave you some feedback on it, and I gave you a target that came from this list here. And obviously this PowerPoint presentation is accessible via your Google Drive link, which is bit.ly/papyr9fr. So you can just go in and check through if you didn't get down your target, which I'm sure all of you did. There was one thing that I wanted you to do with that activity was that if you remember last week, after I'd given you that target, you started going through each of these activities, and you remember that I explained each time we did an activity that there was a target attached to it. So this one, for example, was target 4. As we went through, this one, for example, covered targets 4, 6 and 10, and this one was target 19B. The first thing I'd like you to do in today's lesson is to make sure that you've responded to the feedback that I've given you. So what I'd like you to do is think about the things that you did last week after giving you that target, and just jot down how you think you might have covered that target. And that might mean to say that you go through the activities that you did afterwards and just kind of highlight them or circle them and point to them and say, now this is what I did to cover my target last week. But I'd also like you to explicitly write down in your book underneath where I've written your www and you copy down your target, a comment about how you've achieved whatever it was that I wanted you to achieve last week. So that's the first thing that I'd like you to do. The second thing that I'd like you to do is you've got IAL that's due in tomorrow, Tuesday the 14th, and that's been set. And that was to do with these texts here that I'm looking at now, where you had to draw out, just like you did in class last week. So last week in class we did this WYSI loop, and you remember that the white sentences are the ones that were in the text and the yellow sentences were the ones that you needed to adapt. And for IAL last week I asked you to complete these 8 sentences, and what I wanted you to do was either do the white ones or do the yellow ones or do a mixture of both. So the second thing that I'd like you to make sure you've done is to make sure that homework is ready for tomorrow. So that's number 2. Number 3 is that I'd like you to go on to Languages Online. When you go on to Languages Online, you'll be presented with this page here. There are some books that I will leave at the front of the class for you, which are your Languages Online booklets that have been made for you, and those booklets are for you to record how many out of whatever you got on each of the activities in the Languages Online grammar section in French. So to access those French grammar sections, you need to go to the left hand side here, click where it says Français, and then when you're in Français you'll see these resources there, and these are activities that you could go through in your own time at home, or possibly even have a quick look through in class today. But the grammar activities are found by clicking on this hyperlink, which is at the top of the page here. When I click through here, the book is in this order. So the first activities that are in there are about the present tense. In order to do these activities, all we need to do is click into it. We need to click on this left hand side one, and look, there is also one on the right hand side that asks you whether or not you're on some kind of tablet or if you're on your mobile phone, but obviously today I'm sure that you will be on your laptop, so click onto the laptop button, and then we've got some activities here about ER verbs. So jouer, match up, for example, we're just trying to find the pairs, drag and drop. So je joue, oops, let's try that again, tu joues, etc, etc. And then you just go through there and you click on vérifie. If you get them all right, then give yourself the mark of whatever it's out of in your book. If I quickly go back to the grammar activities here again, just to show you what you could also do here, is on these activities, not the beginner activities, but on the other activities, it quite often gives you an explanation. So it's got regular verbs explanation in there. I find it useful to have another tab open. If I open that tab there and go back into Languages Online, like so, and then just click into languages online, and then go back the way that I originally came. So we've got grammar, and then we've got the present tense there, and then just click onto regular verbs explanation, and then go back onto my original page, because that's got an explanation here of how we do regular verbs for ER verbs, RE verbs, IR verbs. This is how we conjugate them into the present tense. And then just go back to my activities and go through my activities here, but then make sure that from time to time we look back at our explanation there to help us. So those are the 3 things that I'd like you to get through today.